What's going on, YouTube? Chris here. I want to bring you all an update today of Bitcoin. And what I'm going to do is show you my chart, what I'm looking at right now for potential Bitcoin trades. And what I wanted to point out first was, in my opinion, this is a no trade zone for Bitcoin right now. And my Bitcoin position or my Bitcoin trade is actually being patient and waiting for some direction in this space. What we're having trouble with here, guys, is the fact that we have this range that we've been chopping in here from around $6,200 all the way down to around $3,800. So this is a really big range. This is a huge percentage range that we're dealing with here. And if we get out our percentage range calculator here, we're looking at about a 40% range that we could chop back and forth in. So traders who are looking at things like me, I like to trade off the 15-minute. I also like to trade off the 1 hour and the 4 hour chart. But right now we'll be looking at the 1 hour time frame. So each candle represents 1 hour. And what you're looking at is we have overhead resistance here at 5,403. If we're able to get up through that, then we have another round of resistance at 5,865. So this is tough. If people say, okay, I want to jump in right now, you're basically right at the point of overhead resistance. Do you see this entire chop that we've had back and forth? And say you even make it up past that area, you can see we have more chop up in this spot. And then we also have this area where we had that manipulation where we went up real quick and then we fell back down when the feds were saying that we were going to have a rate cut, basically, is what happened here. And me listening to the news, I actually jumped in as well. As soon as I heard that, I rode this up, guys, and I was hoping that it was going to continue to move to the upside. And what I had in there was a break-even stop loss. So I got stopped back out and I'm sitting back in cash just waiting for the next opportunity. But it's tough with all this overhead resistance we have up above us. And then in terms to the downside for support, we're looking at 4,869. And then we'd look at 4,429, and then it'd be down there around that 4,184. So what some guys are nervous about is, say they want to go long in this area, we could very easily break through this weak support that we have here at 4,800, and that would mean a drop back down to around that 4,200, and that would be more than $1,000 dollar drop for Bitcoin. And that's why it's so tough. This range is just so difficult. And in my opinion, this is the time to sit back and plan your trade. Like I said in this space, guys, right now where we're at after we've had the aggressive sell-offs that we've had, I mean, even up around $8,000, you can look at this, all the way up to around $9,200. This was back in March, guys. We were at those areas around $9,000, and now look where we're at right now. But we have a lot of this chop just moving sideways, and I think this is an extremely risky area if you're going to be trading this area. And I think the best thing to do is sit back, find some direction, even if that means that you get Bitcoin at a little bit more expensive price, if you can actually have some direction in the trend. Now what you'll notice here is we're having some attempt on the 1 hour time frame. So we pushed up, you can see right here, this was a nice little impulse wave here on some good volume, and then we cooled back down on lower volume. We pumped back up again. We're cooling down again, and we're going to see if we get that next leg up here to potentially break through that 5,403. But we're going to have to see how we respond to that. You can see up here we had a lot of wicks in this area. And guys, like I said, capital preservation is the most important thing that there is out there, because if you don't have the capital, you can't take advantage of the moves when we have a massive sell-off like this, or you can tell that, Bitcoin or Litecoin or any of these coins are in a strong uptrend and you want to get in on that and you want to ride it to the upside. So I think this is the time to be extremely careful for Bitcoin. Now, in terms of moving out to the 4 hour time frame, we're going to look at that next, guys. And if you get some from these videos, you like me telling you how it is, putting the real truth out there, let me know down low. Like, subscribe, smash that notification bell, hit the like button, guys. I appreciate you all being here with me today. So we'll move out to the 4 hour time frame. And with the 4 hour time frame now, what you're going to see, guys, same concept here, but each candle is going to represent 4 hours. And what you can see, this moving average that I'm paying attention to is our 7 moving average, or I'm sorry, our 9 moving average, our 9 EMA. So this is our 9 EMA on the 4 hour time frame right now. So we are trading up above it. We'd like a nice candle close up above that, and that may give us enough to try to get up above that 5,403, but we're going to have to wait for the candle close there. That's going to be important for us, and it's looking like it could close here in another 45 minutes or so. So if we can close up above that, then I'd look for us to try to get up to around that 5,865. And remember, all these, if we move to the upside, you want to break through resistance, turn it into support. Breakthrough resistance, turn it into support. And if we can get up into these ranges of around that 5,800 or so, then we would have potential because of how far and how fast we fell to the downside here. You can make it up on that backside. So that would be important. And you can see on the 4-hour time frame, after we had this sell-off down to around 4,429, we did have a bullish engulfing candle on heavier volume. So we're going to have to see if that is enough to continue to push us to the upside. But these are the areas, guys, that I would really pay attention to, is that 48.69 being held as support and then trying to break that 5,403. And if we throw on our relative strength index here, we're looking at 45, so we're just running a little bit more neutral, and that's another sign that we're just really chopping back and forth and we're waiting for the whale to make his move. And it could be to the downside, guys, could be to the upside, obviously, or we could continue to move sideways. In my opinion, I think shorting Bitcoin in this spot is entirely too risky. I would never try to do that. I think being in cash and sitting back waiting for a good opportunity is the play right now. That's where you want to be. And that's just my opinion, guys. And we'll move out to the 1 day here. But I'm a little bit more conservative trader, so I want to put that out there. There's some people who are a lot more risky than I am. I'd rather not give up huge chunks of money and then have to try to work that back, you know, to break even or whatever. I want to see confirmation before I enter a trade. That's how I like to trade. Now on the 1 day time frame, we're at 28. So like I said, we're in that oversold territory. So that's why it'd be dangerous to be shorting Bitcoin at this moment. Right now, we have not broken up above our 9 EMA right there. So that's going to be something important. I'm looking at a more short-term indicator there in terms of our moving average. And then we have our 40 that you can see is acting as overhead resistance. We have our 50, and then we also have our 200 right here, and we potentially could have that death cross of that 50 crossing down through that 200-day moving average, guys. And this is where, you know, we have to be extremely careful. I was showing you in yesterday's video, this wick alone is about 19% for a wick, so that's just extreme. I can't tell you what Bitcoin's going to do next. I wish I could, guys. I don't have a crystal ball. I'm never going to tell you what, you know, Bitcoin's for sure going to be going up now or Bitcoin's going to be breaking down now, because no one knows but the whale. What you have to do is put the odds in your favor. You have to calculate out the odds, and you have to make your decisions for the upside as well as the downside. But in terms of this 1 hour chart, you can see how far and how fast we are just moving sideways now. Even the moving averages are moving sideways, so they're not too important to us. Whenever you have moving averages that are just flat like that, they're not going to do a ton for you in terms of acting as support or resistance or whatever. A lot of the times I'll even just take them off, besides an important one like this 200 moving average, which would be nice if we could come up here and test that. That'd be one heck of a move. That'd be back to around 6,258. And then what I wanted to point out to you guys just on TradingView here, so we can kind of align ourselves. So what we're looking at on the 1 day time frame now, we're looking at a 17 sell, we're looking at an 8 neutral, and we're looking at a 3 buy. In terms of our oscillators, we have a 3 sell, we have a 7 neutral, we have a 1 buy. And then in terms of our moving averages here, we have 14 sell, 1 neutral, and 2 buy. And you can go down through here. You can see basically the only buy that we have on moving averages right now is if you're using your 5 simple moving average. So apparently we have been up above that. And that's how things have to start, though. In the short term, you have to start getting up above the 5. Then you have to get up above the 10, then the 15, then the 20, then the 30. And just keep working your way up into that range. You can see over here, relative strength index, we're running neutral. Our stocks neutral. Commodity channel, that's a buy. Awesome oscillators, a sell. Momentum's a sell. MACD's a sell. And you know, you can even get into these things, guys, and look for yourself. If we step back out to the 1 day time frame, I'll show you all the indicators that I like to use for Bitcoin. So if we take a look at this, these are the ones that I have saved. I like to look at the awesome oscillator. Right now, we're really getting pushed hard to the downside there. You can see on the histogram. So that's bearish. If we look at our Bollinger Bands here, we are more so at the bottom. Our middle band is all the way up here around $7,500. So maybe that's a sign, just getting so low on the Bollinger Bands here, that we could have a reaction back up. So that's definitely something that I'm going to pay attention to. Then I'll look at our MACD. MACD, we are starting to histogram tick slightly to the upside here, but we have not had our bullish cross there, and that's something that you would want to wait for and pay attention to. And you can start looking at it on the 1 hour, the 4 hour, the 1 day, depending on what you're trading on. I like to get in and out of positions. Relative strength is at 28 right now, so that's just getting into that oversold territory. And then our RSI, or I'm sorry, our stock RSI here, you're looking at 33 and 30. We did have a bullish cross down in this area right here when we were talking about this potentially could have been our bullish Harami pattern. This was the long mother body here, and then this was the baby inside. They talk about that. Harami or harami in Japanese means pregnant woman. So sometimes that can be a bullish reversal pattern, but it's a weaker one. You'd want confirmation. We really haven't got that. You can see we moved sideways. We had like a short day candle, and then we had basically, guys, it's like an inverted hammer looking candle right here, just moving sideways. Then we almost had a hammer candle, and now we're having another short day candle. So there's just a lot of battle in between, back and forth here, and we're just going to have to see what happens in the days and hours to come. But like I said, I like to tell you guys my position a lot of time just to help you out. And for me personally, I'm more conservative. I'm in cash right now, waiting to see if we can get up above some of these levels like that $5,400. So that's what I like to do, guys. I don't want to catch falling knives. I like to wait for that confirmation. Let me know down low what you're doing. We are starting to get a little stock cross here on the 1 hour time frame. So maybe that'll be enough to start pushing us up higher above that 54 and then maybe up to around that $5,900. But really take this one day at a time. The candles are small right now. They're tight, and we're just going to have to see what happens. So if you get some from this, guys, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I appreciate you all being here with me today. God bless you, and just be safe, guys. That's the main thing I want to tell you is just be safe. I don't want to see anyone get wrecked in this market. We got a lot going on around the world right now, and I believe capital preservation is the #1 thing. So let me know down low, guys. God bless.